Welcome back. You now listen to Sold in 60, the one and only timeshare podcast in the world. It's your man, Richie Rich, and my host, Down Payment Dillan, coming to you again with another action-packed episode of Sold in 60. This time, we got a guest on our show. She's been in the industry for maybe about a year, 2 years? Not even. So let's tap in and see what she's talking about today. And Dylan got an action-packed show with a couple topics, Dylan.
For sure. Let's get right into it. We got about 6 or 7 topics right now. We're going to go over them right now, let you know what we're going to be talking about today. So the first topic, we're going to be talking about how to create and structure third-party stories out of thin air. Second topic, we're going to be talking about how important is the podium speaker and how to use podium to your advantage. Third topic is questions that should be asked on every single presentation. Fourth topic is a vacation commitment. If you don't get a vacation commitment with your guests, what should your next move be? The fifth topic is about the model. You know, we're going to be talking about the model. What are some things that you're saying in the model? What are some things that you say before you leave the model to be able to help some reps out there? The sixth topic is we're going to be talking about, is your rent versus own real? I'm hearing a lot of reps out there that's doing rent versus owns, but they're doing rent versus owns on fake numbers. We're going to talk about it. And our seventh and last topic is battling the OPC. You know, when the OPC sends clients and guests and families to tour with you, there's some things that the OPC tells them that you got to prepare for. You might have to battle the OPC a little bit, and we're going to get into that. But before we do that, as Rich mentioned, we have a special guest in the building.
Xiomara, what's up, girl?
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm very good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me here today.
That's what's up. Now,
appreciate it.
CO is one of the people that we got an online order, one of our first online orders for the timeshare objection card. So we appreciate you for supporting that and incorporating that into your presentations on your back end, right? So we want to talk about that in a minute. Mm-hmm. So how are you? What's going on? Like, tell us about yourself. How'd you get into business? What got you here?
All right. My name's Xiomara. I'm born and raised in Florida. I've been here for my entire life. Surprise, surprise. I got into the business, honestly, my ex-boyfriend. I'll be honest with you guys.
Okay.
I had no idea what timeshare was. I didn't even know the company that I'm currently working for existed. And I was still in high school at the time. So only thing I heard was a really good job opportunity and full-time pay at the age of 17. And I said, you know what, let me give it a shot. So I started behind the scenes. I was working in the office for about, I want to say like 2 years. I actually used to check the contracts for those salespeople that they would go ahead and turn in. And it was a pretty crazy experience. I'll say it definitely taught me a lot. But at the end of the day, I had a manager. I remember he came in the office, actually pitched me on becoming a rep. And he was like, you know, you have a really good personality. You're pretty quick. You got like a lot of, how do they say, spice, I guess, or you're kind of feisty. And I was like, okay, like, what's your point? And he was like, I'm saying you would probably be good out there. Like, why don't you give it a shot? And I'm like, I don't believe in that. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what you guys do. Like, I just do my job, go home, go to school. He's like, listen, do you know anybody your age who's making X amount of dollars? Like, what do you have to lose? I was like, you know what? It's a pretty good point. What do I have to lose?
Damn.
The rest is history.
That's what's up. You imagine being 17 years old and someone telling you come sell.
I wish.
Most of us got in the game way later, you know, and wish we could turn back the clock and have that opportunity. So doing contracts, you saw the different deals that was coming through the door, right? And obviously those numbers, I guess at each resort are different, but right now the average sales price is probably about $23,000, $25,000, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it varies because you have small deals, big deals. But when you were back there seeing those contracts, did anyone explain to you what the commissions were getting paid on those things?
Yeah. I didn't realize that they were getting paid commission, I want to say, until about like being there for 3 months. which if you think about it, is actually a pretty long period of time because you go to work for 3 months, you're like, you don't really even know what you're doing. I didn't even know that they sold timeshare.
Right. You know what they was doing.
I didn't even know what they were selling. I was just clicking the buttons like, okay, I get paid for this, cool. Because they were, how would you say, very raw. And I was always instructed to stay in place. So I said, okay, let me do my portion, and that's it, and I'll keep it pushing. Once I did realize what those commissions were, that's kind of where my mindset did a whole 360, where I was like, oh, okay, I might see a method to that madness here then. And that's...
Were you getting paid per contract that you process or just by hourly?
No, I was just getting paid hourly.
Got you. Okay. Awesome.
You know, I think that you said they were pretty raw. When you say pretty raw, I mean like they was rough, like they're rough?
Yeah.
Because on the contract window's peaceful while the sales floor is chaotic.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know, like a little bit of a breakdown where I was kind of working is there's the sales floor, right? And it's kind of like a cafeteria almost. And it's like a packed cafeteria. Imagine the whole school goes to lunch at the same exact time. And then my office is just these 3 little box office windows like you're going to the movie theaters that are soundproof. It's very peaceful. It's very quiet in there. I can drink my water and eat my lunch at peace. And if my boss says, hey, can you go ahead and do this favor for me, I can do it at ease and with my own leisure, right? The sales floor is completely different.
Completely different. And those people from that floor is coming to your window like, bam, boom, 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 boom. Hey, I need you to turn this deal in. What's what? I need a floor plan. I need this. I need that. Can you hurry up? I'm still waiting on that. The energy is different.
The energy is completely different, and it was like I didn't understand why because I didn't know what they did. Like nobody really broke that down. So from my perspective, I thought it was rude. And like I'm literally like, why are you demanding me to do this? Like I'm going as fast as I can. I don't even know what you're asking me because it's like my brain was programmed thinking from a backseat, like, hey, this is how we do stuff from the actual company versus somebody who knows how to make things sound really, really nice and pretty. So sometimes they'll ask me for something and they're like, let me get that 3-weeker floor plan. And I'm like, I got you, what building?
Right.
The 3-weeker. I got you, bro, what building? The 3-week. You know what? I'm your boss, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, okay, now I'm in trouble because I don't know what a 3-weeker is.
That's funny. Yeah. You got to understand, though, well, you know now, but these reps that are coming to your window, the reason why they want you to move so fast is because they have $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 deals on the table that's relying on you to move fast so they can get this inventory back to the table or they can, maneuver around. So that's the only reason why they're so pushy, because there's money on the line.
As soon as I understood that, I definitely went ahead and catered to it. And if you were a rep who came at me a little crazy, I was going to go ahead and accommodate you. Because even if you came at me crazy and you were nice, I could help out because I want you to, do your part and then leave me alone. But I'm not going to purposely go out of my way to, mess up somebody's. It was never like that. It was just when I got hired, they didn't give you the fine details of what it's going to be like. I met the person who was in charge. He said, you're going to do great here. You're going to love it. Can't wait to see you on Saturday. That was it.
You end up being one of the most educated people back there and relied on, because if there was one person that can get it done, it was you.
Yeah.
And I remember them always giving you props and saying, she can handle it, So that's what's up.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was real.
So then you transition from the contracts to the actual sales floor. Okay. And how was the training process for you?
The training was rough. But I really enjoyed it, if I'm being honest with you. I think it gave me a whole 360 moment, in eyes of the company and kind of coming from a background of more of a office perspective of how things are done and certain criteria that needs to be met. And then transitioning to a salesperson, going through that training literally opened my eyes oh, okay, I get it now. If that makes sense.
For sure.
Did you cry?
I cried actually on a test. I still passed though.
That thing is no joke. The training is no joke. I mean, every company has different training. I heard that where you at, it's one of the most strict or most, they say it's one strong training.
Absolutely.
I think because there's more scripts that you have to memorize. but other people may just be just a product, you know. But I think that shows that if you're tough, it makes you tough, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many people started in your training class, and how many people actually graduated and hit the floor with you?
So we actually did this like really weird guinea pig style training where it was like one property and another. So we started with almost 120 people, I want to say.
Yeah.
By the time it was graduation across the 2 resorts, I think it was only 60 of us, maybe. I could be wrong, but I really don't remember. I have a picture, and we all fit in just to one iPhone camera. And that was a big training room. So I was like, whoa.
Wow.
Where'd everybody go?
Right.
Yeah. I remember when I was in training class, they was like, you know, hey, we're going to go over this script today, and by tomorrow you got to know word by word or you're fired. We're letting you go. And I'm like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking they just talking crap or whatever. But we came in the next day and they started letting people go. And I was like, oh, shit, this is real. I got to remember this word for word. I got to be on point. You know what I'm saying? So it's serious. But there's a reason why they do that. You know what I'm saying? And I actually think that it's good that they do that. So that way when you hit the floor, you're ready. Because I know when I hit the floor, I was well equipped with everything that I needed.
Right.
For sure.
So let me ask you this. Do you remember your first sale?
Yes.
All right. Tell us about it.
It was a blur. It was only about 20 minutes.
Do you mean like the presentation was only 20 minutes?
No, I mean the closing with the credit card was 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like not the notary, like on the table. And so we were taught one thing, and then when you hit the floor, you know it's completely something different. So I did my best to go ahead and adapt, and I got the owner account, and I was like, all right, let me do this. Let me go talk to this lady. Like, what does she want? And it was kind of some tiki-taki we ended up doing. I brought my TO to the table, and he did his thing. She ended up purchasing. The first family that I sold, it took me 4 hours. But they bought. It was a Quinella from Chicago.
So your first deal was an owner or non-owner?
It was an owner.
It was an owner.
Yeah.
But the deal was done in 20 minutes. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So you said something that's interesting. You said that from what you learned in training, the same training class that you went through that was so rigorous, when you got your first sale, it was completely opposite.
Oh, 100%. They're talking about some 90 minutes. You got to go A through Z, this, that, and the third. I pick up that lady, and she's like, yeah, I just don't want to, like, buy anything and this and that. I'm like, yeah, girl, I heard it all. Don't even worry about it. You're safe over here. We're just going to chat for a little bit. And all of a sudden, she's like, oh, I didn't even know I had this problem. Dang, like, I'm going to have to do that for my son then. And I was like, you know what? I think that's a great idea. We can help you if you want. And that was it. She was like, okay. And then it was like a split equity, which is something crazy. But she ended up adding the hubby after. So everything was good. She was very happy.
That's what's up.
Now, when you said something about you got your tour and you went and you checked the owner account. So is that something that they teach you to do before you go out and get your family, pull the owner account, or is that something that you just did on your own?
Yeah, it's something that they teach you to do.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And why are you pulling an owner account? Just so you can see where they've traveled before you go talk to them?
I mean, it's good to know kind of who you're talking to. An owner account, if you know what you're looking for, will tell you a lot about who you're talking to.
Got you. Okay. Give me an example. So let's say I'm in a tour, you pull my account and it shows I just got back from Vegas, California, and Hawaii. Are you going to speak to me different than someone that didn't have that resume on their travel history?
I think the only thing I might bring up was how was that trip and see what you have to say about it.
Got you.
But there's a couple other things that are more important rather than reservations. You can always do a little bit too much prejudging with owners as well. So you have to walk that fine line.
Got you. I think when I was in the game, the reason why we were pulling owner accounts was not necessarily to see where they travel to, but to see, you know, what's the balance on their ownership. You know, did they pay, if there even is a balance, did they cash out? You know, how much did they put down? Because that'll tell me if this client has money or not or something like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
For sure.
At the resort, you have the luxury of actually seeing if they spoke to somebody too.
Yeah.
So you'll know, like, for example, if I had an owner that came last year on a presentation and they spoke to so-and-so, I could ask so-and-so potentially, hey, do you remember this family? If they're willing to give me any information. If not, perfectly fine, but at least I know that they were pitched. See what I'm saying?
What if you pulled an owner account and you seen the last person that owner toured with was a top rep, and that top rep didn't get the deal? How would you feel going into that presentation?
I think that's a really good question. Would you say now or probably when I first hit the floor?
Well, now.
Now?
Yeah.
Now I wouldn't let it stress me out. As a new rep, I probably possibly would, because that first inkling is going to be, damn, if top rep didn't get it, then how am I going to get it? But you got to think, like, it could have been the timing. It could have been the way they approached them. Maybe they didn't need what they offered. Maybe they're going through something so, like, financially, like, burdening them that they honestly couldn't afford what was being brought to them at the time. Or maybe they just didn't even like that salesperson. They didn't like their style. Some owners are very particular who they buy from. They,
For sure.
they'll once they build a rapport and they feel safe, they're kind of just like, whatever you tell me, okay, cool.
Because they trust you. Yeah, absolutely.
I like that mentality, though.
What's that?
You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter who sold them before or who, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they haven't met you.
For sure.
But I think in your case now, in the department that you're in, you see different owners, different reps that sold different owners anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So you still have that mentality.
I have to have that mentality. Not only do I see accounts from the property I used to work at, I get almost every account in the company. So we work across a bunch of different properties as well. So I get to have access to those, and I'm like, I don't know who this person is. Let me just call and see what's going on, you know?
True.
Not true. So also when you're on the floor, I'm pretty sure you had the opportunity to share some third-party stories with some families, right? So let's talk about creating and structuring third-party stories. So are your third-party stories real, or are they factual, or do you just, whatever comes to your head, you just say it? How do you structure your third-party stories?
I always think of my family. So, like, my mom likes to vacation a lot, and third-party stories was something I think I struggled with because I didn't understand the product and how it worked. So I didn't know how to manipulate a third-party story in my favor into a way that, for an owner, is like, that's exactly what they want to hear. Now it's like, oh, okay, let me think of how would my mom go ahead and use it. I'm going to listen to what the owner is trying to do, and I'm just going to be like, oh, I know somebody who did it exactly like that, actually. But they went, you know, X, Y, and Z, or they ended up doing it a little bit this way just because it was going to benefit them more. But if you want to achieve X, Y, and Z, you might want to go ahead and try doing it this way.
For sure. One of the things you just said I pointed out was once you learned and understood your product a little bit more, you were able to manipulate the conversation or manipulate the product how you wanted to show it. And that's big. That's huge. You know, a lot of reps don't know their product like that. You know what I'm saying? So they're not able to steer a conversation how they want to. So that's big.
For the people that's listening that may not know what a third-party story, you have a breakdown for a third-party story?
Do I have a breakdown for a third-party story? Yeah. You know, one of the ones that I like is feel, felt, found. You know, that's an awesome one. Rich, how about you share with us how the feel, felt, found goes?
Well, you know, I'm sure you want me to share how it feels. You know, a lot of people felt the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But what they found was when I can illustrate how it works, they get a better understanding on how, you know. I asked that. It's funny because we just, I had a class this week. So we talked about feel, felt, found. But one of the breakdowns, I was looking for to switch camera. But a third-party story can be used to enhance emotional motivators that we discussed during the survey, right? Or when we're doing discovery. So those emotional motivators must be reinforced again and throughout using in the presentation. So you connect them, right? People don't want to be the only ones that's doing something. So we, not just to keep up with the Joneses, but they want to feel like other people was in this situation. And that's why we use third-party stories. And there was a guy named Fess Kareem that taught me third-party stories.
OG.
Yeah, and he was really good, and I had to practice that. So the fact that, you know, you're doing it and we've done it on the sales floor is something that happens in every day. Even when you're going somewhere else, someone wants to tell you another family went through the same situation and how they overcame or became an owner or bought this product or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
It also plays a little bit on fear too, because people don't want to They don't want to miss out, or they don't want to go down that same direction as the family that you're telling them about. Oh, I don't want that to happen to me and my family, so I should probably, do this, or I should probably go the opposite way. Okay, but third-party stores are definitely beneficial if you're struggling out there with third-party stores. Definitely do some training, pull a coworker to the side, pull your manager to the side, go over some third-party stories. Let's transition into the podium speakers. So there's some resorts out there that reps are required to do a podium, and there's some resorts out there that don't have podium at all. So CO, the property that you were working for, did you guys have podium speakers there?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, wow. You don't know what a podium is?
No, well, I've heard of a podium pitch, but the way that you're describing it, I'm not sure if it's the same thing.
Okay, what's the podium pitch?
Where they bring them in a room, I think, and then they watch a video, and then after that, they'll go ahead and do the other portion of the tour or the presentation.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Podium presentation.
Okay.
You know how you have like a pitch book part 1 or a front end, trust need? They do that portion in a group setting, and then they release them to the reps to finish the back end.
I actually went and stalked one of those resorts and wanted to talk to a salesperson. I'm like, how do you guys do this? And he kind of told me. So I was like, interesting.
Yeah. I think podiums could be good for people who don't have the enthusiasm to get them emotionally involved at the beginning. And if your job is to show the unit come back and work the back end, it makes it a little bit easier.
Oh, for sure. A lot easier. Yeah. The podium basically does the product presentation for you, and then you just get them at the back end, like Richard said.
Do they get paid less?
So they do, because the podium speaker gets a percentage also of the deal, right? So the podium presenter, let's say, gets 2% of all the deals that are written that day, right? That 2% most likely in some resorts will come out of your commission, or in some resorts it doesn't touch your commission. Absolutely. You've done a couple of podium presentations before.
By happenstance.
Yeah.
We had this was a history where we were backed up with tours, and they were going to gift them anyway. So I just grabbed all the families and sat them on different tables and did like a general presentation, set it up, and then when I seen a rep, I passed them off for them, and that became successful. And we got maybe like 3 deals out of 5, and then we ran it again, and it became something that we did at one point for throughout the year. But it wasn't necessarily what that company was interested in doing, but it worked. We made more money. So it was unorthodox.
Gotcha. Some people like it, some people don't. I know me personally, I'm a front to back rep, so I don't need a podium. I just want to greet my family, and I do the whole presentation from front to back. That's just how I am. But okay, so let's transition into questions to ask on every presentation, specifically for the front line. So, CO, when you were on the line, were you front line or were you in-house?
No, I worked in-house.
You was in-house, so you were dealing with owners. Okay. So how about you tell us what are some specific questions that, or I would say mandatory questions that you would ask in every single presentation? Questions that you're asking every single family, no matter what.
Every single owner that I'm going to engage with, I'm going to ask them, why did they become an owner with us?
For sure.
I mean, I can do all the research I want, but I want to see if they even remember why they became an owner. After that, I'm going to go ahead and see where that question will take me. If it doesn't give me as much as I want, I'll do some extra digging. If it's something negative, I'll say, okay, so then why did you end up signing on the dotted line anyways then? Because at the end of the day, you have a mortgage payment now. Mm-hmm. So if you're not going to utilize that, what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. And then I'll see what they'll say from there. I think also asking kind of you could always ask how often do they vacation, but for what I do, it gets a little redundant, I feel like. They heard that a couple times, so you have to be a little creative. But it's kind of play by ear for me, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. Mm-hmm.
So you're dealing with owners at this point, right? And you said from what you do. So you transitioned to a different department from where it was initially, right, on the sales floor. So what exactly are you doing now?
So right now, I'm still selling timeshare, but I'm able to go ahead and do that through the phone.
So you don't have to deal with them face-to-face?
Correct.
You have to Zoom?
No,
Just straight audio.
Yeah, just a phone call.
And they're waiting for you to call them, or are you randomly cold calling them?
No, this would be cold calling.
Get out of here. So you're interrupting their day to upgrade them. And that's working for you.
Essentially, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's what's up. I can't picture myself doing that.
I'm not flexing, but I was top rep last week.
Okay.
I promise no flex.
There you go.
But it's going pretty good.
That's what's up. So yeah, there really is no wrong answer with, what questions to ask. I mean, as long as you're asking the who, what, when, where, how, and how, you know what I'm saying? Ask as many questions as possible. As a matter of fact, the more questions you ask, the better, right? Because they're going to eventually end up telling you how to sell them.
Absolutely.
I think asking questions, though, has to be in like a conversational way, right? Because when we see people that have like a survey, it becomes like interrogation if they just read the question and look up, read the question, look up. And it's natural, right? In the beginning, that's how it is when you first start, you know, until you know the question that you need to ask, and you can ask it in a conversational way. And then there's a thing called second and third level questions, because people will give you answers just to get you through your presentation. You know what I mean? So if you tell me you want to go to the Caribbean, I need to ask you what part of the Caribbean and why the Caribbean. What about the Caribbean makes you, interested in going to? You know what I mean? We got to dig deeper.
What makes the Caribbean so special?
Yeah.
So
for sure.
And of course, you said specifically non-owners, right? Or owners?
Specifically for like the front line. This is for people that don't own. What questions would you be asking a frontline tour that doesn't own? What's a specific question you would ask them?
Well, where they want to go, how much they usually spend on vacation, what accommodations they stay in, how many people they travel with, how many vacations they take a year, what they do for a living.
For sure, all of it.
You know what I'm saying?
All of it, for sure.
You take short weekends, you get PTO, you plan on retirement.
Tell me actually your vacation style from A to Z.
Yeah.
How would you actually book an entire vacation? Walk me through that, please.
Exactly. All of that is great. Speaking of that, in our process of our presentation, there's something that's called the vacation commitment, right? And I consider vacation commitment to be one of, if not, the most important part in the presentation. But the question is, if you don't get a vacation commitment from your guests, what should your next move be, CO?
That's a good question. I'll say at the resort, my first instinct was to freak out. But you got to take a step back and be like, okay, so where did I mess up? You have to keep asking those questions in a way that's not going to piss them off, but you got to figure out what didn't click for them, if that makes sense.
For sure. What about yourself, Rich? If you're on tour, you got a family, you're trying to get a vacation commitment, they're not giving it to you, what would your next step be?
So if I have no commitment, is it an owner or non-owner?
Let's say it's a non-owner.
It's a non-owner. I am going to create an element of surprise. Usually, I'm probably going to set up a dance with my manager on the back end to find a way that we get to treat them as an owner, or they get a trade-in or something that is a opportunity they can't turn down. You know what I'm saying? Because if there's no commitment and they tell me they're not going on vacation, then when there's no need, I got to go with greed or fear of loss. So that's the angle I would go.
For sure. Absolutely. For me, if I'm on a table and I'm not getting a vacation commitment, I actually would just stop my whole presentation. Like, there's no need for me to move forward. I'm going to take whatever books or paper that's on my table, I'm going to throw it out the way. I'm going to let my seat back, and we're just going to talk. We're just going to talk at this point, because there's nothing. If I can't get you to commit to go on vacation, there's nothing else to talk about.
What did I do wrong here? What are we doing?
Honestly, I would be really, really confused. Like, I would actually sit in their face and be like, what do you mean you guys are not going to vacation? Like, is this the last time you guys are ever going to, take some time off of work? And they'll be like, no, but and I'm like, but what though?
Yeah.
Like, what is it?
Yeah.
But I can see with you being in telesales, I could see getting a vacation commitment for you would be a little bit harder, because I always tell families, like, listen, I didn't come to you. I didn't knock on your door to give you this presentation. You came to me. So obviously you came to me. You're here on vacation, right? So I make sure I get a vacation commitment out of them. But for you, you're cold calling them. So if you cold call somebody and they say, oh, well, we don't vacation anymore. I stopped vacationing a long time ago. I would see it hard for someone in telesales to get a vacation commitment from someone.
I could see why you would say that, but like I don't really understand. Do you not know how to use your product? Because your mortgage payments are all on time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not taking vacation, then why do you keep giving us a mortgage payment?
Gotcha.
I have interacted with a few owners that, when they don't have the time to go ahead and use what they already purchased with us, they're going to go ahead and bank that, put that away. So at another time, they can actually go ahead and vacation and their money's not going towards the trash. So did you know you were able to go ahead and do that or not? Mm-hmm. That's where I would go.
So you're telesales for in-house also too?
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Right?
Yeah, I've been in-house through and through.
Got you.
So you're dealing with people who own and you're upgrading them, right? To something, maybe a better product that works for them. Mm-hmm. But since that you're calling people, what do you feel is the biggest misconception that they have about ownership?
I love this question. I'm gonna keep it honest. It's gonna be a miscommunication. It's not gonna be like lack of knowledge or this and that. It's gonna be they didn't understand what they thought they understood. Now, somebody who actually works for the corporate office is calling them, and it can go the wrong way if you really don't know how to break it to an owner. So you got to learn how to gauge and ask what questions are necessary to see what information they do know, what information they do not know about their ownership with us.
Got you. So when it comes to in person, you would be showing the model, right? But being that you're on telesales, how are you showing this owner this new upgraded model that you're upgrading them to?
We have this thing called Email Outlook, and we'll send a floor plan through it.
A 3D floor plan?
Yup.
There's this new thing they came out with called emails, right? And you just send them the floor plan.
Oh, that's funny.
A floor plan, yeah. I'll
Okay.
just send them the floor plan, and then I'll paint the picture really, really pretty. Majority of my sales are from specific resorts, so I've learned a way to go ahead and make sure I can cater to what they want to hear about their ownership, specifically Smoky Mountains. Oh my gosh, I love those people. God bless their souls.
They love their units.
What's so fancy about Smoky Mountains?
What isn't fancy about Smoky Mountains? Who vacations in the mountains? You guys vacation in the mountains?
No.
I haven't been there yet.
You never been?
I want to go though. I heard you can see the leaves change in the middle of fall, and the views and the smoke.
Mm-hmm. Smoky Mountains, that's Tennessee? Where's Smoky Mountains?
It's Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Gatlinburg.
Those owners don't like to change nothing that they have. They don't want to leave smoke. They don't want to leave Gatlinburg. They love Gatlinburg.
Really?
Yeah. You see the opposite?
They want to buy more.
Yeah, they want to buy more.
Wanna buy
but
more.
they want to buy more Gatlinburg.
Yeah, unless they're new and they don't know about it. Then they'll be open. Hey, would you be open to moving somewhere else? I mean, yeah, sure. But the good thing about those owners is that they're always willing to listen to you. Rather than if you have like an East Coast account, somebody from New York, why are you calling me? What's going on? Who is this? You know? I had a person like that today, actually. It's like, all right, I could give you a call back. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm. Who are your best clients, I would say? From what state do you feel like you get the most deals from?
I'll say Florida, Midwest region, and then anybody that owns in Las Vegas.
Really?
Yeah. Some people like will live in Cali and purchase there. Some will be coming from like the most random state, but if they own at Vegas, they kind of want to hear what you have to say as well.
Got you.
Dylan, who's your favorite customer?
My favorite customer is, I like Nigerians. They buy big. They buy real big. Sure. I love Quinellas for sure. Yeah, I have Asian families. I love Asian families. They buy big too, for sure. Absolutely.
I like anybody from the Caribbean.
Yeah, Caribbean too. Yeah. Bahamas for sure.
Bahamas for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like the ones that talk really, really slow, if you know what I mean. They're kind of like, I don't really know what you're talking about. Well, that's okay. Do you have a second? I can explain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Absolutely.
You know, speaking of floor plans, like in your company, they have Matterport videos that are linked to the website that you can send. They're like virtual. You can walk through them. if that helps.
If you have the time for it.
It's a link.
I'm not going to do that.
You can send
I don't need to do that.
Really? You just send them a copy of the floor plan?
Sometimes I don't even have to send them the floor plan.
Get out of here.
It really just depends. Like, when I say you learn something new every day is because, like, every conversation will go differently. Even if I think I have it front to back, my version of doing a phone call, A to Z, it's still going to go a little bit different because it's a phone sale. It's not at the resort. I'm not sitting one-on-one with this person getting super emotional. I'm still going to do the best of my ability to bring that emotion out over the phone, but sometimes you have to hit them where it hurts about their account and then go ahead and bring that alarm to their brain and be like, all right, well, I'm either going to tap into greed, how you said, or I'm going to go ahead and tap of fear into loss. Like, I'm not going to play this game of, well, did you want to upgrade? Did you know that you had?
Yeah, no, that's too
I don't
weak.
have the time for that.
For sure.
Would you say it's more logic when you're on the phone?
I think it's a healthy balance. I think the resort is real emotional. But over the phone for me, that might be just the type of salesperson I am, though. I like to come with my I's and my T's crossed. I like to come real correct.
What would you say your social style is?
Expressive and then analytical. What about yourself?
I'm an analytical driver.
Okay. What about you?
I am amiable, analytical, for sure.
I think before I was a salesperson, I was amiable, expressive. I had a lot of problems with urgency.
So
Funny shit is that it can change. Anybody can change. After they get into sales.
for sure. And then every tour is going to be different too because we're dealing with humans. We don't know what these people are about to say. You know what I'm saying? Transitioning to our next topic is your rent versus own real? So, CO, let me ask you this. Are you doing a rent versus own with these owners over the phone?
The call is recorded for quality and training purposes.
That's a no.
Got you.
And I like what I do.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Got you.
I could do, I could make it sound very nice, but I don't have to go into depth as they would do at the resort. So to answer the question, no.
But correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you're saying rental, like a rental pitch.
No, I'm saying rent versus own.
Yeah. So, I mean.
Oh.
Yeah. We can talk about the rental pitch.
Y'all got me there.
You know what I'm saying? We can talk about the rental pitch.
Y'all really got me there.
That's funny.
Rent versus own. I mean, yeah, you could.
Anyway, money, basically.
Yeah, if I see them using weeks that they don't own, absolutely, I'm doing a rent versus own.
Okay.
But if I see them using what they own, I'm like, damn. Or if they're not using it at all, like they're just banking it, I'm like, dang, what's going on, y'all?
Got you. So, when it comes to a rent versus own, Rich, what would you recommend to reps out there if they want to write bigger deals when it comes to their rent versus own? What are some things they should be doing? What are some things they should be saying in their rent versus own to write a bigger deal?
If I can extract how many weeks they're going to vacation each year or intend to, I'm going to also add things that they may not have taken into consideration, like anniversaries, birthdays, short weekends, family gatherings, and just try to get a bigger number to use, right? That if they continue doing what they're doing over the next 30 vacations, I'm going to get a larger number. If I consider using inflation, I'll get a larger number. That's what I'm going to do. Try to get a bigger number to say, if you do this number can fluctuate versus if you do this, it's a one-time payment for a lifetime of vacations. So I'm going to probably go that route if it comes to rent versus own.
Got you.
I like to also pull up something on either Kayak, Expedia, something like that. The same resorts that they have in Interval, and pick some dates and get a idea, or so they can see what it could cost, right? Because going to Jamaica for a week or something like that is going to be, let's say, $3,000, and that's just one vacation. But if you told me you're going to take 4, now you're talking about 3 times 4, so that's $12,000, and that's not guaranteed for that to stay the same. Then I multiply that by 30. Showing that when you use Interval International or RCI, you have an exchange fee, go to the same resort for just the exchange fee. So I would try to do that route.
For sure. For sure. I think a lot of reps miss that too. Like you just said, adding inflation. Maybe they just do, 7 days times $100 a night and times about 30 years. But I think they missed adding in the inflation because inflation is real.
Yeah, especially today.
For sure.
Especially today.
For sure. Absolutely. Let's see. Moving on. Battling the OPC. So this is something that I don't think CEO has to deal with at all because she's cold calling, right? So there's no OPC that's standing in her way or.
She dealt with it before, though.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got a tour that didn't qualify that you had to take.
Man, I had a couple I could count on my hands, but you just got to take what they give you and do your best.
Now, that's a cool mentality. I didn't really fight. Some people know how to NQ. And if y'all are listening and watching, the NQ means to not qualify. Some people know how to NQ a family. I was not good at NQing families. How about you?
I was perfect at NQing families. I'll
shoot.
kick him out the lobby quick. Scared him. Yo, this is 3 out. Oh, yeah, let's get you signed out here. Let's go to the side real quick. I'll kick them out so quick.
Oh, my God.
It's so funny.
People get in trouble for NQing too.
I know. They pulled me to the side, told me I got to stop doing that. But it's not even just about an NQ. Like, sometimes the OPC actually will lie to them and say, hey, when you get there's going to be a full entree, breakfast line for you. Some people say, it's only going to be 30 minutes. The OPC gets paid just by having the guests show up to take the tour. So the OPC is going to say anything and everything just to get that tour there in front of you. Mm-hmm. It's up to you as a sales rep, you know what I'm saying, to distinguish between what the OPC told them and what they're actually here to do with you while you're there at the presentation.
Yeah, I mean, I see it like this. I feel like we all play a role, right? So the OPC has to convince the family to do the update or presentation, right? When they check into the lobby, this is if they're staying on property, when they check into the lobby to get that room key, they slide them down and offer them all types of gifts and incentives, right? And then they say, you got to go to this owner's update the next day. And they say whatever they got to say. Oh, this guy's just going to show you around. They're not here to sell you anything, blah, blah, blah. So their job is to get them in front of us. Our job is to retain that opportunity. People, they go home and realize, what the hell did I just sign up for? I'm not trying to get sold. Then they come in and they want to fight, right? Listen, I don't got time. It's supposed to be only 60 minutes. Let's let you know we're not buying nothing. All these things come up early. But some people get caught up into what they say in the lobby or beginning of the tour and lets them throw them off. And I feel like we got to understand them. That's the whole thing about training. Training teaches you the psychology of the sale. These people, it's a seller-initiated sale, right? So we need to understand people are going to throw up on us and have this negative, but it's our job to save it. You know what I'm saying? Talk them down. It's going to be painless. I don't even have 60 minutes, to be honest with you.
For sure.
Things to bring that tension down because we know sales resistance is high. So I just feel like being that I got to see how the machine works, I feel like it makes more sense to try to save the tour instead of kicking it because you might not get another one.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
In my experience, that's actually why I stopped trying to NQ tours because I didn't get to see that many.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, let me give it a go.
Yeah.
And sometimes the same ones that was telling you no, be the ones that buy.
For sure. Absolutely.
But speaking, just to elaborate on that too, everyone plays a part because the OPC had to convince them to get in front of us. We had to convince them to purchase, and then they go to deeding. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So there's hurdles, And if you get a deeder that's trying to find, and we'll have a deeder on here next, we have a deeder that's trying to make sure this deal is solid, that's another obstacle to overcome. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they want to make sure the deal is solid, but their job is to be on the same page with us as well. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So it's an interesting game. It's an interesting machine.
So, CEO, being that you're in the telesales portion of it, do you have a TO that you put on the phone to help close the deal, or are you still closing it from A to Z?
No, I do. I actually do front to back now.
Okay, CO.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Going from, I just actually had a flashback of what our original back end that we were taught in training was. Richie was actually my trainer. He had this this sucks, man.
Oh, the back end?
Yeah, and I'm like, well, what are you talking about? I don't know if it's that bad. And I went out to the resort and I was like, this sucks, man.
Yeah.
But now I do front to back. If I need second voice, I'll add my TO, but I'll tell him what I need him to do, and he'll listen because we're a team.
Mm. Speaking of that, in the beginning when you start, you're not telling your TO nothing what to do. They're telling you what to do.
Everything to do.
You know what I'm saying? But after you get some skin in the game and you know how to set up your table, then you can say, yeah, I want you to come to my table like this, or I want you to get on the phone like this, you know? But there's somebody that's starting right now that doesn't have the credibility to tell the TO. And they're just doing whatever the TO comes. I know people come like, oh man, my TO sucked. He lost the deal, man. I could have had it, you know? So what would you tell to somebody who is just starting and they have to go by the guidance of the manager?
Well, I would tell them just to continue to go out there and get more experience. Go out there and take more tours, because through the experience, you're going to develop that toughness like CO has developed within, her year, to the point where she's closing her own tours and telling her TO what she needs. In the beginning when she first started, I highly doubt you were doing that, right?
In the beginning, I said, I have this account. What do you want me to tell them? I would literally, because I had that relationship since I knew them, I would literally be like, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what you want me to do. Like, okay, mommy, you're going to do this, this, and this. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this, this, and this. I will say the biggest thing is, no matter what resort you're working at, if you're working with owners and you don't know a lot about owners, learn about owners and what they're being told and what your product can offer them. Because that's going to give you the freedom to have that confidence and the control to where you can approach your TO and say, hey, I was thinking this. Even if you don't have that credibility, you can sit there and say, hey, I looked at this, this, and this. I think this would be a good route. What do you think? And they'll respect you a little bit more rather than looking like a deer in the headlights. Well, I asked them how many weeks they take a vacation.
Yeah.
And that's all you kind of got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever been in an uncomfortable situation where, let's say you're at the back end. Let's say this is you on the sales floor, not in telesales, but you're at the back end. You've been with this family already 2.5 hours. You know this family's not going to buy anything. You go to your TO. You're trying to explain to him what's going on, and he still tells you, go back to the table and say this. And you taking that long walk back to the table, knowing damn well that nothing's about to go down, but you still got to go back to the table.
Honestly, yes. Almost majority of my tables, because I didn't get to see as many families as I might have wanted to. But I did the best with what I could. And I also recognized the fact that I was basically like a nobody on the floor. And I said, you know what do I know about sales? This is my first sales job ever. Like, this person I know has closed X amount of dollars the past year. I've checked them myself. If they're telling me to go tell this to the family, I'm going to go tell it to the family.
Yeah. And then have you ever been put in a situation where you didn't think it was a deal and you end up getting a deal out of it?
Yeah. Probably a majority of my sales, actually. Because you got to have that mindset to be rejected. So you got to be prepared for the no. But you want to flip it to a yes, right? So I think I'm trying to remember from the resort, but honestly, it's kind of like a fever dream.
Do you feel like there are some TOs that are like weak?
Can you elaborate on weak?
They suck. They don't know how to close. They don't know how
to close. I don't think it's that they don't know how to close. It's that I don't think they give y'all that time that they deserve. Like, if I'm being honest, I think if you're working with a TO, whether you guys interact every single day on a team or you guys are just linking up for this one table, you should still respect the fact that that rep took the family out for at minimum 60 minutes and spoke to them for 60 minutes. So they know about 60 minutes worth of information about that family that you don't. And if you come in with this third leg of, well, I close 50% of my tables, this and the third on top, and I have to go hit this top rep's table in 5 minutes because they're waiting for me, like, it's not really fair. Like, you can understand the mindset, but it's not fair to the rep who sat there and spent that minimum to 60 minutes. Because now you're not giving them 110% of your energy. And how's that going to help that rep if you're only assisting the person who's at the top?
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Speaking of assisting the person that's at the top, it's time to get a little heated in here. What's your take on resorts playing with the wheel and feeding the top reps, if that's even a thing?
I got to see it firsthand.
No way. This is the debate we have every day. I said that there's a fair place and there's no playing with the wheel. Tell us what you saw.
I might start sweating in here. Hold on. I will say I worked for in-house. I got to interact with in-house and Dayline. They are two separate wheels at the property that I worked at.
Yep.
I really liked the in-house wheel. The Dayline was definitely something different.
Facts.
I have seen on both occasions special treatment, but it's case by case, and there's going to be politics wherever you go.
Always.
So if you're just going to sit back and hate about it, I really don't know what to tell you. Either figure out a way to make it work for you or just...
Yeah. You got to get in the circle. That's an earned position. You know, you got to
absolutely
understand the politics and get in the circle. So it's more of a Dayline thing, not an in-house thing.
Did I say that?
You did.
Oh.
No, that's across the board, I would assume. Frontline, Dayline and in-house. I mean, the top reps are going to get fed regardless of the department that you're in.
They could go ahead and spin it however they want, but if you're at the top, you're at the top. You're probably, if you've been at the top for a little bit.
But unpack it for me. Like when you say you've seen some things, like you've literally seen someone say, hey, give me that tour back, let me go give it to this guy, and you just wait on the side until there's another tour for you? Is that what you're saying?
No, more of like, hey, they called me up to see which family I wanted to pick up downstairs.
Gotcha.
And then they go downstairs, they say, I want that one. And I'm like, what you mean you got to pick? And they're like, I mean, I looked and I was watching everybody, and I picked that one. I said, okay. And then another example would be a family requesting, I think, a certain rep, and that rep wasn't there. And so the person who was handing out the tour at the time didn't know what to do or like what the protocol was. And they kind of were just like, well, I know so-and-so is really good. Like, let me give it to them. And then they ended up getting in trouble for that. But they still continued to do it. So I don't know all the answers. I didn't really ask questions if I didn't really need to.
No, I hear that.
If you know what I mean.
Got you.
Yeah. I think Dylan's going deeper.
Because he wants to know, but like, you got to remember, Dylan, I was still a kid.
Got you.
They don't respect kids. Like, I didn't have this... I would say confidence or like ability to speak with people about stuff that I'm curious about. I would be a little more on the amiable side of like, I'm curious, but I don't really know if I should ask.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know what he's seen. I haven't seen anything like that. But like those are regular situations. Like, okay, there's a family here, we need a rep. Who are we going to call? I'm not just going to give it to whoever is sitting around, but give it to somebody that can close. It's a free shot.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? What are we going to do?
I was going to say, do you have reps in the waiting room?
Yeah, but you know.
Is there like a specific scenario that kind of got you like, dang, this is a red flag?
Oh, for sure. I've seen it all.
Do you want to share?
I'd be glad to share. I've seen it all. I've worked at a lot of resorts here in Orlando, all the big names resorts, privately owned resorts, publicly traded resorts. I've seen them. I was a rep that got fed, you know. I used to come in late to work, and they used to call me and say, hey, Dylan, when you come in, come through the back door. You know, I got a tour for you. You know what I'm saying? So when you're the one being fed and you see it, the funny thing is when you're the one being fed, you don't say anything.
Right.
Right?
Of course. And then when you get approached, I don't even know what you're talking about. I've literally never done that in my life. I'm like, dang, I feel like I heard that 3 times today.
Yeah.
You guys are all reading the same script?
Yeah. But in the defense of me getting fed, I earned that. I worked my way up to the point where they said, okay, Dylan's the guy. He's the go-to guy. You know what I'm saying? They're not just feeding just, you know, anybody random.
I have to say, coming from like a back office kind of position, I understood why they were getting fed. Like, you know what I mean? It made sense. Like, they'll be like, oh, well, you know, so-and-so hasn't done very well. You know, we should give them an opportunity. And, like, there'll be just this, like, awkward silence.
Word.
And then so-and-so, who's a top rep, will walk by. Hey, are you doing anything? And I'm like, I think that's a good idea. You know, that definitely makes sense. Yeah. But fine line. Favoritism is going to be just like beauty within the eye of the beholder, I guess.
For sure. For sure. Absolutely.
Well said.
You mentioned something about reps in a break room. So in telesales, are you at a cubicle or there's a break room for you guys too?
Yeah, we get both. there's not really a break room that we have to like wait in, almost like at the resort where it's like everybody kind of meets up in there and they chit chat. It's more like kind of be free at the office.
But when you was on the floor, there was a rep room, right? Mm-hmm. And what's that like? What's the conversations in there like?
Just like the sales floor.
Positive, negative?
Both. You have your trainers, your top reps, people who like to eat, people who want to know if we're going to go party, people who want to know what you're wearing, what you just bought, would you tell that family, how come you were talking to so-and-so. It's kind of like high school. It's kind of like high school, I'm not going to lie. They're like, I saw you with so-and-so, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. What are you doing? Yeah. Why are you asking me this? Yeah. Like, don't you have a tour? So...
What did you do to block out the negativity, or did you indulge in the negativity?
In the negativity, not necessarily. I've always been a really good listener, and I can like
peep game, listen, absorb, and see what's going on.
And then like I'll kind of tune out, right? Mm-hmm. And I just Yeah. Like, my sister will call me out on this all the time. Like, she'll look at me in the face. Stop bullshitting me. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not, but I could see you don't have a thought behind your eyes right now. And I'm like, damn, she got me. She's the only person who could, like, kind of notice. I'll just listen to the last thing they said and piggyback right off of that. That is so crazy. I totally understand. I mean, that family had no money at all. Like, fuck. Yeah. We're going to go do it again tomorrow, though.
For sure.
You going to clock in tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's funny.
We were always told to have like headphones and stuff like that to block out the conversations in the rep room.
I stopped hanging out in there like real quick. Like, I would hang out in there in the beginning because the trainers were there. And we were like, yeah, we want to talk to the trainers. And like, we were all on that like new guinea pig, like, we just hit the floor. But as soon as that wore off and they started seeing like what it really, really boiled down to and what it took, I stopped hanging out in there. I went in there. If there was nobody there, I'm going to heat up my lunch, eat, and leave.
Got you. Would you say it is, we talked a little bit about this before the podcast started, as far as, when would you say is the best time to join the timeshare resort to get a fair chance to be able to, you know, take as many tours as possible to make some money to be able to stay at the resort?
I'm not too sure, if I'm going to be honest. I want to say springtime now because of the fact that I started in summer and didn't get the luxury that previous classes did have before me. But that's not in my control. I'll say around Christmas time or New Year's, like around that time of holiday, might be the most awkward just because like it's really, really peak season. Like, you'll get a lot of families and then it's just gone. January will hit and it's just like the most random people who vacation in January ever. And then you're like, what's going on? Why don't I have a tour?
Tumbleweed slow.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, that was it.
So when you're at the resort, obviously you're waiting for a tour. But if you're in telesales, do you get to call as many owners as you like? Wow. So you could have 10 owners that you talk to tomorrow if you wanted to. Get out of here.
I actually had 2 appointments before I came. That's why I was late.
Oh, wow.
So sorry.
Wow. Okay. Awesome.
I was like,
So why is it that you decided to go into telesales and not just stay on the floor but at a different resort?
For me, it was ethics and then like also opportunity. I'll say opportunity because of the time frame that I was in. I didn't know if it would have been the smartest taking one training course about a product I barely knew and then taking another training course about another product that I barely knew.
For sure.
Like I mentioned before, I like to come correct. I'm very analytical when it comes to like my presentation process or like whatever I'm going to pitch you. I want to make sure like you're understanding what I'm saying. And so for me, that's product knowledge. So I have to learn more about what I'm doing. I say, you know what? The perfect opportunity would be to go to telesales because I get weekends off and I can learn about what I'm saying, and interacting with that many owners will teach me about what I'm actually explaining to them. Not only that, it helps with the third-party stories that we were saying before. I actually have an owner who does it like this.
For sure.
That's what's up.
That's dope. Interesting. So, I would assume you like telesales better.
It has its ups and its downs.
For sure.
Yeah, I might go to the resort one day. We'll see.
Got you.
I haven't met much people that do telesales.
It's where a lot of people go to retire.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that 9 to 5 mommy job.
Weekends off sounds real good right about now.
For sure.
That was my selling point. I'm not gonna lie.
How do you verify? Because, there's so many robocalls and scammers nowadays. How do you verify and say, hey, this is legitly me calling from corporate office? Do you send them any type of credentials or something to let them know that this is you, or they just listen to your voice and just say, okay, I guess this is the company?
I'm just really good at building that rapport right off the bat. I follow the same formula from the training, and then I listen to the top manager on the sales floor. And I just would listen to calls as much as possible. And I'm right off the bat, I think of myself, I'm a very hard sale. Anytime you want me to do a big purchase, I don't even know. I don't even have any money actually. Actually, can I buy it with only $50? I'm the person that's gonna give you a headache and then try to finagle the lowest price. And I'll probably waste your time. I'm not gonna lie. So I think of it like that. And I'm if I'm cold calling myself, I give that person 30 seconds maximum, because I'll get a cold call myself and I'm oh, here are the scammers. Let's play. What are we playing today? And I'll just introduce myself right off the bat. I'm calling from the corporate office. Is now a good time to speak? If it's an East Coast person like earlier today, well, what do you want? Well, I'll just advise you the call is recorded for quality and training purposes. Before I get into it, am I speaking with so-and-so? Yeah, what do you want? Okay, perfect. I see you have a property with us over in Smoky Mountains. I'm just calling in regards to this. I want to reiterate that the call is recorded for quality and training purposes. Would now be a good time for us to go over some information that is left open and pending on your account?
Absolutely.
Got my attention.
Yeah. And I think, too, what you added, I'm calling from the corporate office. I mean, my ears are popping already. Corporate office, yo, what's going on?
The lady told me, Westgate doesn't, they don't call. They don't call owners. I say, what?
Right.
I literally went out of character. What? They don't call owners. Who'll tell you that? My salesperson. Have they called you? No? Oh, okay.
And you know where that comes from? There's so many scammers on this this market, where people call and say, I'm calling under the umbrella of XYZ company. And all they heard was the XYZ company. So now you got their attention. You guys have unlimited getaways that we can rent for you. We just need you to pay us $3,000 and we can rent them out to people. And people are giving the money to these scammers.
Yeah.
So to hear from you, that introduction is very, very important. What I heard was you own a property with us. That was saying I own with you. It wasn't like we work under the umbrella of, you know what I mean? So that's kind of good. But they are nervous. And as a sales representative, I used to say, when you purchase with me today, I'm your personal representative. Do not take calls from anyone. You have an issue, you call me. Sure. I am your representative. You want to get scammed? No. So if somebody calls you, don't pick up the phone. You call me first. And people have called me first. And it was fraud. People that were scamming them. You know what I'm saying? I was like, no, I don't believe that. So I can see why you're going to get that.
Yes, they do scam. It's public information they own. And those people, if they bought timeshare, they're going to buy something again. I have spoke to a few owners that have dropped about $3, $4, $5 grand with these companies. And they're out of it. It's gone. Had nothing to do with them. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I can't help you.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to tell you.
These are timeshare resale companies?
Yeah, some of them are timeshare resale companies. Some of them will just go off the loyalty program, I guess, and then start talking about, oh, you have all these weeks, I can rent this, or your cruise and travel membership, we can give you a lifetime warranty and this and that. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What's your take on timeshare resale companies?
You don't know much about them?
You're not going to get all the benefits. If you're buying with a resale, if you want nice things cost money.
Speaking of nice things, since you have your real estate license, you've been selling timeshare, you got into business as a young age. Oh, you just graduated high school not too long ago.
Yeah.
Have you made any big purchases? Not yet. You're holding your money. How does it feel to be where you are now, making money compared to your peers that you went to school with?
It's a blessing and a curse. I'm very, very, very thankful for the opportunity, and I will never talk down on the fact that I get to do something that I actually really enjoy. But being at the age that I'm at, it definitely teaches you a lot about life, finances, and then who to surround yourself with, because you don't want to make a lot of money at one point in your life and then not be solid for the remainder. Like, what is it all for?
Have you went through that already? Have you made a nice bonus commission check and blew it all, and now you back to paycheck? And
I want to say paycheck to paycheck, but I was gone with like the savings that I had. So sad.
For sure. I was
like, damn.
And the things that you spent the money on, is that gone? Like, or you still have
no,
those
I'm wearing
items?
it on my face.
Got you.
Or it's in my stomach. I ate it.
Yeah, for sure. That's funny. Yeah, some reps get that big check and they think, it's okay, I'm gonna make it again, and they never end up getting back to that spot again.
I'm scared, if I'm being honest. I heard too many like crazy stories. You guys seen The Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm scared, man. I'm like, you know what? I know myself real well.
Mm-hmm. So if there's some new people that's looking to get into industry, maybe they're a little timid, a little on the fence, what advice would you share to them? Whether it's in-person sales or over the phone, what advice would you give to them to give them that motivation to just get out there and try it?
Honestly, just take the chance. Like, you really never know what's going to happen. You got to shift your mindset. If you're scared, you're definitely going to have to shift that. But if you're willing to take the chance, then what do you have to lose? Go give it a shot. It might be actually everything that you ever wanted.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right. So we got this segment of the podcast where we pull a card from the Sold in 60 objection cards, and we have our special guest on the show respond to the objection. So, Rich, if you don't mind, go right ahead and pull those cards out for Miss CO.
Well, before we get into that,
okay,
Miss CO was one of the foundations of the people who bought the Sold in 60 cards.
She was the first one?
Yeah, you can find the link in our bio at Sold in 60 on your Instagram page. Click the link in the bio, get a copy of your Sold in 60 cards. Thank you for everyone that has been purchasing and using it. But Miss CO was one of the first ones. So we're just going to let her tell us about her experience, what she's using. She can pick an objection.
You want me to pick? Okay. Wait, they're upside down. Oh, no, they're not. Okay. Just kidding.
So her favorite one so far was
the cancer one.
No. The cancer card.
I think it was I don't want to purchase today.
Yeah. The one I would struggle with a lot was I can't make a decision today. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you're kind of right. Maybe you have a brain. I used to eat up the objection.
Yeah,
Can you tell?
Yeah.
So I got to pick one?
Yeah.
Am I going to quiz you or you guys are quizzing me?
We're going to all say what we feel we would say.
For sure.
I can always use my getaways. I go first?
Go right ahead.
I mean, you can, but like, is that guaranteed? Is that guaranteed? You guys even know how an interval works? They're going to be like, no.
True.
Okay, because you got to trade in that week and then you don't get it back. And then, you know, you have to wait to see if somebody else trades in their week somewhere else. And then you might get that.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So, getaways are excess inventory that no one, like for vacant resorts. You know what I'm saying? So they got to wait till some resort is vacant to use it. What I would do is you could always use your getaways. Well, how much is the average getaway? And then I'll pencil pitch the getaway. I will show them how much they'll spend over continuously doing getaways. And the whole purpose of timeshare is to own versus rent. So you just put me back into a rent versus own situation.
You also lose out on like the amenities and because some of the resorts that they exchange to are like not as cool or like as nice. Like it's just like a nice room and then they have like a pool and like you could check in and stuff, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of owners are like, I don't even like interval. I'm like, perfect. Perfect. Because you actually need 2 more bedrooms.
For sure. When you're doing your upgrades, are you just upgrading to a bigger bedroom size, or are you upgrading them to a different location of their deed?
It depends on who I'm talking to and what they tell me.
Okay.
So the answer is both. Sometimes I might do both in one contract.
Gotcha.
But it just depends on what they need and what they can afford.
Gotcha. Wow. So for you to only have a year or a little over a year of experience in the game, you sure are knowledgeable about how to manipulate a conversation, it sounds like.
Thanks. I appreciate that,
For
actually.
sure. I can definitely tell that.
Cool.
If a guest told me that they would just use their getaways, well, first of all, me doing my discovery and just spending time with them, I kind of would have already found out if they're using their getaways or not, right? Earlier in the discovery part. But the getaways, they're not guaranteed. They're first come, first serve. You know, you can see a getaway today, say, okay, I'll book it tonight, get on, log into Interval, the getaway could be gone, so that's not guaranteed. And kind of like what Rich said, which is a big one, you can pencil pitch the money that they're spending on getaways. If you're doing 3, 4, 5, 6 getaways a year, you take that 300 times the 5 or times the 6, and you can you with that money alone, you could be buying an extra bedroom, or you could be buying more into your ownership to where you don't have to spend money for the getaways. So I would definitely attack that too. That's dope.
I do the same, like Virgin, almost as if like the same how I mentioned before. If they're renting additional nights outside of what they own, I'll add all of that up. Or if they're booking outside of their ownership time, I'll add all of that up and ask them, like, so how was that last trip to, Smoky Mountains? Because right now you own something called a value season, but you were traveling around the all-season time. Were you able to get, like, a really good deal on that or something like that? And then they're like, no, I had to pay $1,000 to be there, and I already have a mortgage payment. I don't understand, like, what's going on. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Let me see if I can help you, actually.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
And you would have never got that information if you would have never asked the question. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, like we were talking about earlier, asking as many questions, not necessarily asking as many questions as possible, but asking the right questions. Asking the right questions that's going to get you where you need to go to get to the finish line. CO, we appreciate you coming here to the studio and sharing your knowledge with us. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of viewers that were listening that definitely gained a lot of knowledge from you here today. We would love to have you back on the show again.
Oh, wow.
For sure.
I got
Absolutely.
the invite back. I passed the vibe check.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. I'm actually a really big fan of the show. I do listen to it on my commute to and from work sometimes.
For sure.
I like to hear the different perspectives, and I like the different topics that you guys go over, so I think it's a really good tool to have as somebody in this industry, especially because I don't really know a lot of people who kind of know about this world.
Yeah.
My family are all in the medicine industry.
Speaking of medicine, there's some natural medicines in the world. And this Sold in 60 podcast was sponsored by Healing Sky Wellness. Healing Sky Wellness is located at 8865 Commodity Circle. You can contact them on their Instagram page at Healing Sky Wellness. They also do massages and all type of healing for the mind, body, and soul.
I like that.
Okay.
I might have to book me an appointment.
Me too. One of these days, I'm going to have to come after work.
For sure.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you, Dillan, once again, my right-hand man. And if you got some jewels from today, understand, use them, because that's how they get sold in 60.
And we out.